Hello everybody and welcome to Let's Build live from Oak Hill Works. How are we all doing this evening? I hope you are well. And we are back with the South Eastern Chatham Invalid Saloon from Branchlines. It is indeed alive, Alex. How are you? Show that message. Yes, indeed you spy Hornby coaches. They arrived with me on Monday and had a review written on RM Web on Tuesday. And they have had a review filmed to go live on the channel on Tuesday. So, Tuesday video on this week. It's already uploaded and everything. It's 42 minutes long, so make sure you've got some tea or something made before you sit down to watch it. I had a fair amount of notes for said video. I did indeed, Thomas. I got permission, and that means I can legally do this. This thing here, despite what Hornby say, is a Stroudley carriage. There is the drawing. Look at that. It is the same thing. Because I have permission to use these drawings. Look, it's the right length and everything. The right layout, it's all there. And many other drawings. But yeah, just a couple of notes and drawings and everything. It's a 42-minute long video on Tuesday. Make sure you've got your tea first. Indeed, Javier Hornby Stroudley coaches. How are you this evening? I hope you are well. Hornby, complete liars and charlatans, surely not. Indeed, Alex. And I definitely didn't have to sell my soul to get permission to use those drawings or anything. So ignore any obviously asked for shout outs that I may do in the video, because of course I didn't get told that to do certain things I had to make certain shout outs by certain corporations. Never. And I definitely didn't give in. I have, however, popped that wheel out. That's better. You shill. I know. But also, look how good they look with actual Stroudley handrails on them. Focus, darn you, camera. Don't you know that I've put my white sheet in a really awkward place? Don't they look great with the Stroudley style handrails on them? I only got a couple of handrails. That's 60 on each one of those. Except for the bottom one that's obviously got them on that coach. So yes, enjoy my review on Tuesday. The less said about this thing and some buffers, the better. Because they weren't concave buffers. So, yes, we're South Eastern and Chatham carriaging this evening. Now, some of you will remember how I was going to epoxy these screws in during the week so that we didn't have to sit around and wait for 8 hours and just twiddle our thumbs watching it. The good news is I definitely didn't do that. The other good news is when I realised earlier that I hadn't, I checked. Go on, focus. And if you see that screw head, it does take solder, so the screws can be soldered in place. It's not going. It would probably be better with epoxy. I'm not going to lie, but a good dollop of solder in there is going to hold them. So we're all good, he says. Hopefully. And I also, because I'm actually acting like a professional this week, remembered to print out the floor plan. So I do have details of how the interior should look. So, you know, we can make that happen. That won't be tonight because we've got an underframe to finish off. But yeah, so we can definitely make that happen properly. So yeah, first thing we're going to do is get the screws soldered on, and then we can solder them onto the bottom there. Then we've got battery boxes. We got some bits to fit on the bottoms of the bogies still that we forgot last week. Oh, for a set of instructions. Wouldn't that be grand? So first thing we want to do is remove this bolt off the bottom here, nut off the bottom here, and drop the bogie off. And then we will be able to solder that in there. And have some working bogies by the end of the night. They did not take much to get the bolts going right through everything, and I don't think you really missed anything by me doing it off camera. In fact, let's take that out, them out, and then we can polish up the inside of this first. Look at me thinking about stuff and things. So yeah, we can polish it all up, get it all nice and shiny and ready to take solder. And of course cover it in flux, because you can't have too much flux. I suppose at some point I should turn the soldering iron on as well. With this newfound professionalism of mine. And it's also nice to see we don't have all the chat in the world on the screen at once this evening. YouTube seemed to have done as I asked and sorted it out. Which was very nice of them to listen to me. I'm sure there was no one else that asked them to do it and had problems. Yes, having chat back is marvellous. Last week was terrible. Indeed. It really bugged me that we had chat like that last week. That's right, Spiff was exploiting Steam and EA this week, so obviously he was too busy to break YouTube again. So if we fill that with flux, and then screw the screw through on top of it. We can drop some soldering on that. But yeah, it was a fun one, Spiff's one this week, because he pointed out a slight bug in EA's and Steam's system for older games that basically lets you have EA games on for free. Because of how EA Play works. Yes, it was indeed quite interesting. And apparently has been a known bug for quite a while, and a lot of people exploit it. So you would think that they would do something about it. There we go, that screw is now solidly in there. Good evening, Mookie, how are you? Good to see you have managed to make it to the live stream. I hope you are well. And yes, look, there is the bot reminding us all to smash that like button. And subscribe and ring notification bells and all those other wonderful things that we do that help increase my YouTube viewer interaction. That's what it's called. Which greatly helps the channel. Fixing bugs is overrated, just ask Ubisoft and Bethesda. Well, yes, this is true. And of course, in a lot of cases, also EA. But you would think a company like EA, if the bug was people getting free games, they'd be fixing it. Because, you know, we're talking about EA here. Well, of course, but I don't really play EA games anymore. EB and Bethesda bugs affect me all the time. Well, yeah. Oh, I just watched it to see what this bug was. Because I know that none of his titles are going to be clickbaity, ever. Because that's not the type of person he is. But when it was talking about free games, I was like, what? Really? Have they let a bug like this get through? And it turns out, yes, they have. So now, with the bolts firmly attached to these can go onto the bottom of the carriage, like so. Still need to replace this blooming fiberglass pen. One day. I'm not that professional yet. Although I have this week ordered the new lighting for the new studio, which means all I've got left to order and for in there is the acoustic foam, and then we're done. Currently playing Div 2 and have been all week due to Resident Evil event. Not played it since, streamed it, and it's so much more buggy and unstable than it used to be. It's good when things become more buggy over time. That's excellent. That's really well thought out. Huzzah for studio progress. Indeed, thank you, Alex. Yes. So I need to get in there again and get the wall where the acoustic foam is going measured, so I can order the correct amount. But I have also been working on the new workbench and the shelves for in there, so it's not like I'm not doing anything at the moment. Yes, it's not. Many candles have you ordered? So I have ordered 2 massive light boxes in white, not this slightly yellowy warm white that we've got now. So they shouldn't wash out the colour and make it slightly yellow as the current lighting setup does. But I shall have one facing down from this side and one facing down from this side, with the aim to try and reduce the amount of shadows we have. I have also ordered LED lights to go under the shelves in there to keep the shelves nicely lit up so I can see all my tools. New studio sounds like a dream. Oh, it will be. What will happen with the carriage lamp? It is undecided as yet. I would like to see if I can get a white light for it so that it doesn't have to be retired. But the position where it's mounted now, up on the wall on this side, is going to be where my shelves are. So it will move somewhere, hopefully staying within the studio with a pure white lamp. But I do want to get my lighting balanced well to try and reduce shadows. Who knows, it might be able to help in that. I suppose worst case scenario, it becomes a nice decorative lamp for somewhere else in the house. Well, yes, that is always a possibility. It certainly ends up somewhere. The 009 needs lighting. And there we go. Now the bogies actually will sit underneath as a part of the carriage. Obviously once I bolt them on. They are there. Wahey. I obviously didn't open this one out quite as much as the other one because it does not want to come off. Good evening, Paderborn. How are you? I hope you are well. So yes, for those that remember last week, we slightly messed up and discovered that we'd actually put this floor on upside down. Fine folks, I hope everyone else is too. I am indeed very well, thank you, Paderborn. So I've got my plans for how the underframe looks on the inside here, but they're also the wrong way round. So the battery box in the middle here is fine because it's in the middle. I've got a second one off to the side that I'm going to need to put on this side. And then I've got a hole for the dynamo here. The dynamo will have to be mounted this side. But generally, it's not actually too bad. The dynamo is about the only thing that we'll be having to drill a new hole for. Everything else sits flush on the bottom of the chassis anyway. I have my two battery boxes here, so we shall get them off and attached next. Good evening, Red. How are you this evening? I hope you are well. Those are certainly letters, Thomas. Yes, definitely letters that you've put there. It's trying to mirror image. Oh, I mean, I assumed you were trying to write it backwards. I just couldn't work out what it was from here. So, you know, they were certainly letters. Yes, obviously our bigger battery box just folds up and sits in the middle here. Obviously once it's soldered and actually square. No, you've put the words the wrong way around there, Red. Because image should be before mirror if you're writing it in a mirror image. Right, there's a little bit of flash on those ends there. Let's get that off because in this case it is not the saviour of the universe. And then with that lined up nice and square, I'm going to try and solder down the inside. Good evening, Alexander. How are you? I hope you are well. Who knows, I don't know too many Alexes. How do you know you don't know exactly the right amount? What if one day you need to hold an Alex convention? That has not stuck back on that time, that's neither good. It's really hot now as well, which makes it much harder to get into the right shape. There was another Alex in Discord for time, so we had 3 then. There was indeed. And there's a link to my Twitter, thanks to the bot. Getting by, thanks. Then my group lesson. Yeah, it's decided not to run well, frustrating after work. Bringing back to work in order from Stone Dead. Well, that is irritating. I hope you can solve whatever is wrong with it quite quickly. Dave's a much more appropriate name. Everyone in railway modelling is a Dave. As has been discussed on the channel many times. Alexander, Miss Saturn, the younger brother of one of my friends, someone Warhammer Club, my aunt's cat, and our postman. Not Mr. Mole then. Alex isn't as popular a name as it used to be. Doesn't appear much on popular baby names lists these days. Look, Alex, it could always be worse. People keep telling me that there'll be no one left with my name in my expected lifetime. So, you know. You are a ghost. Clearly I will be by then, yeah. Nonsense, I know at least 2 Garys from my generation. Well, tell them they're not going to live into their 60s. I hope they're happy with that information. That side down. So that just solders on there. I remember knowing 5 Thomases in secondary school, all the same year too. That's a bit too confusing. No one wants normal names anymore, they prefer things like Tofu, Orion, Handstand, etc. Yes. That being said, I'm the only Samson I know. My God, he said his real name in public. I've never known you to say your real name in public before, Red. To have to say that I was named after the Tsars of Russia, I guess my son, if I have one, ought to be named Nicholas. Well, clearly, yes. Good evening, Heritage Railway Productions. How are you? I hope you are well. I've just watched your latest video just before starting the stream. 3 Alexes in my secondary school year. See, that would still be too confusing for me. College I went to, down to 3 of the 2 now. The elusive Tigger, I'm the only one. Rasputin. Yes, Rasputin. I know Samson, mind you, he's German and bad. 6 Jameses in my class in middle school. Wow. Just a couple then. I am, thank you, hope you are as well. I am indeed, thank you. Well, I'm English in 27, that's not really a comparison, I prefer Sam anyway. It's only my nan ever calls me Samson, or just Red. My granddad always said, never worry about what they call you, as long as they don't call you late for tea. Very good. Very good indeed, Bob. There's not enough flux there. You can't have too much flux, but you can have too little. There we go, that is that battery box fitted. Said before, I'm only called Alexander because my mum thought she'd have a daughter and wanted to name her Alexandra. You have indeed told me that before. Still better than my dad's name anyway. Anthony Fernley Perkins is a terrible name. Charming. Right, so that goes just the other side of this hole, so it sits about there. That's going to be fun. Names aren't as important as what your friends call you. I went for over 20 years with only my family using my name. Well, this is true. I found myself over the last few years being known as either Blue Lightning or Mr. Oak quite a lot. Including by people that knew my real name, and I have no problem with either of those if I'm being honest. Dad wouldn't mind me saying that anyway, he agrees with me. Doesn't agree enough to go for a deed poll though, does he? So yeah, that wants to sit about there. Definitely would have been easier if I hadn't have put the floor on the wrong way and have more support underneath it. But I think it's alright. No, but besides most things just Tony P. Well, I'm sure most people that are Anthony go by Tony. Certainly my uncle does. Oh, the wrong way round, mug. Remember everyone, hydration is important. So there we are. Battery boxes as well. It's feeling parched. Well, that is why hydration is important. So next we have little details to put on the bottom. Because the good news is I did basically work out what everything in here is. Which is nice. Evening, thanks for stream, Gary. Enjoy it. Good evening, Ian. How are you? I hope you are well. So yes, in here we have some buffers. They can go away for now. With any luck, we've got 4 of them. We do. We've got 2 brake cylinders. We've got some bits for the bogies. They can go away for now as well. Some brake pipes. Some springs. A dynamo. 4 torpedo vents. And 2 toilet filler caps. It was filler caps, wasn't it? Yes. Yes, finally unlocked the umbrella core patch. Now I have all the resi items I want. Excellent. Glad to hear it, Alex. Got my hearing aid working again. Turns out the old loco needed a waking up. Excellent. Glad to hear it is working again. So yes, we have the brake cylinders, which have locating holes on here that are way too small for them. One that side, one that side. We have the dynamo, which has a locating hole for it here. However, we want it over here because I really intelligently put it the wrong way. So what I think I'm going to do is cut the locating pin off, tin it up and solder it on. These are also too big for the holes, so they will need opening out with the round file, which is around here somewhere. There it is. So yeah, fine, relaxing after hard days modelling. Excellent. I approve of a hard day's modelling. especially one followed by relaxing. Even more so if that relaxing is whilst watching my live stream. There we go, that fits now. That's not quite there yet though. There we go, and now that fits as well. So we can polish and tin all the spaces on the floor and get the get the soldering iron turned down. Ready to solder the white metal on. I'm going to flux it all first. Nice thing is they made unlocking the resi stuff super easy, so even non-sweaty players like me can get them. Excellent! That's what we like to hear, Alex, is when they make things easy so that everyone can unlock things. Right, some lyrics stuff from my band, but I was obviously watching, trying not to let Peter walk alone. My laptop stuff the screen. One day we'll get the cat sending messages on chat in here as well as on Discord, won't we, Red? And the bot also wants us to know that hydration is important. And so we can hydrate whilst we wait for the soldering iron to turn down. Which cat? I think all four have been on Discord at some point or other. Brilliant. Any of them, Red. Any of them. So often in online game events, all the best unlocks are either beat every end game boss in the game on legendary 3 times or put so many hours into it you need to play for 23 hours a day. It is a bit like that, yes, I have discovered that. And it's not great. So we're going to chop off the locating pin because we put the floor on the wrong way. Hope Jack Daniels is a recommended hydrator. Well, as long as you enjoy your hydration, definitely. Reorganising and found some stock I forgot I had. Ah, it's always good to find stock you forgot you had. What I have to hand is a can of Copperberg. Oh, what flavour, Red? I do like Copperberg. Not gonna lie. That is why I could never get any good stuff. Star Trek Online, the awesome ships were for sweats only. Yeah, that really sucks when they do that. That really sucks when they do that. Strawberry and lime, very nice. Very nice indeed. Been a long time since I've had any at all, but yeah, that does sound nice. Exley Pullman, oh, very nice. You have to put that up on Discord for her ladyship to see. She'll like that, I'm sure. So now we're just tinning up all of these. Anyone else tried cold black coffee and ginger ale? I have not. It sounds like an interesting combination. It's certainly something I would consider trying. But not something I have tried. Right, so that comes in about that far. And that's that stuck in place. I see the word coffee and I feel slightly sick. None of that, Alex. Has to be fresh brewed black coffee gone cold. Well, there is no coffee other than fresh brewed in this house, Bob. I'm the sort of person that drinks so much coffee that I've considered growing my own in the past. Just to see if I can. It's nice as a summer evening drink. It does sound it. There we go, it's in. There's no coffee full stop in this house, bar a small amount used for baking. Personally don't like it, my mum can't drink it. Connor does, but usually only has it at work. Well, you're all wrong. Especially you, Alex. At work, drip coffee breaks every few hours. See, when I'm at work, I drink even more coffee. And I do say even more because I drink absolutely loads of coffee anyway. And that's that nice and secure. Although I'm not as bad with coffee as I used to be. I'm a tea person though, I do like a hot cocoa when I'm working on a cold day. I mean, that sounds good. So you're saying our Lord and Saviour Spiff is wrong as well then? Well, have you seen the way he talks about coffee drinkers? Tea has to be green tea for me. I have several different varieties of green tea in the house. This does not impress Mr. Mould. I'm well aware of his view on coffee drinkers. Green tea, I actually have no idea who you're talking about. The Spiffing Brit. He's the YouTuber that broke YouTube. Half coffee, half coke is the main treat on the cold skating day in February. Ah, coffee with chocolate in is brilliant. Right, that is all of those. On we have underframe detail. Oh great, cream and honey. I mean, that also sounds good. Cream and honey certainly are better than milk and sugar, regardless of drink. But I don't have sugar anyway. Yorkshire Gold, Nectar of the Gods. I mean, it's not bad, is it? Spiffing Brit, sorry, didn't click at first. Well, you should. You should. Right, so there is them done. Now we have some bogies to work out. These are going to be fun. Because these bits that go in the bogies are clearly meant to go in before the brakes. Okay, question for the cat. Custard creams, dunk or not dunk? I think I've dunked custard creams before. I think. And now we see how much Alex hates me. Oh, that's okay, like that one just dropped straight through. So, yes. These drop through here and give us our springs stuck out the side. The little tabs that we couldn't work out what they were for then fold down behind them. And I am going to do all the soldering on that back bit folded down. So I'm going to dab some solder onto each of these pads on here because the iron is currently hot. I probably should have left it cold, but there we go. Never dunk a biscuit, hate the remaining sludge in the mug. That makes sense, Bob. No, I'm not asking what people's favourites are, just your thoughts on whether custard cream should be dunked or not. Dunk once and bit, don't dunk the second half. Yes, all custard creams, definitely good dunked. Someone I heard the other day was adamant custard creams were the best dunkers. I don't think I ever have. So I'm pretty sure I have dunked custard creams before. Possibly even more than once. Cadbury's fingers are good dunkers. I mean, anything with chocolate on is good. Because then you get essence of chocolate in your tea and or coffee. If you want my absolute favourite, it'd be those chocolate chip digestive biscuits. They sound good. Breed Linny, Cadbury Fingers. Oh my god, I'm feeling faint now. On that Dunkin'. Cadbury's fingers leave chocolate on your fingers, which you can then remove from your fingers. Well, this talk through reminds me I should have some dinner. Yes, Linny, yes, you should. Sounds like a witch roll. Good fingers, good dunkers. My brain is malfunctioning clearly. To be fair, I stopped dunking once I discovered the utter heaven that is. Yeah, street waffles. Yeah, yeah. They are quite good. Oh no, the brake fell off. That's the only one of all of them that's done that. So I'm quite impressed with that. Let's get that stood back up. All biscuits should be dunked unless it falls in. That's a good argument. I like that argument. There we go. Stood back up. I had Street Waffles when I went to Germany. They are awesome. That they are. Also made in the finest Dutch export. Indeed, indeed they may well be. And there is a link to the website that contains my blog that I'm wondering if I should put my written review of these on. But I kind of want to make you all watch the video on Tuesday, which is significantly better than the written one because it contains drawings. But everywhere else my reviews go in, I probably should put it on my blog as well. Germany had to Google Street Waffles. Oh, you must now get some Paderborn and have them, because they are wonderful. Everyone's get some straight from the source. Well, yes, totally. Everything's better when it comes from the actual source. That hasn't gone okay. There's not much popping anywhere at the moment. Well, no, that's true. Probably want to do the back of these as well. Is that true? When it's over then, indeed, and hopefully it won't be long until it is over. And there we are, that's one of those tinned up on the back. Have to be careful though to pop in Germany slang for this channel is PG. Oh. Good job we're not in German then, isn't it? So, what are all my lovely viewers up to this evening whilst you watch me work away? Right, that one is in. Still divisioning, well, quite. I assumed that would be your answer. If I can move you, you're not stuck. If I can move you, you're still not stuck. Cooking dinner and cadding. Well, I approve of dinner. I would approve of dinner at a much earlier time than this in future. Naughty Winnie. That's it, writing lyrics for my band. Excellent. Building some old car kits. Oh, very nice. Fitting Cadies to a Lomac. Ah, Cadies. American couplings that look American. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do actually understand why people use KDs. They're just not for me. It's the K word, Bedlam. I mean, that is my usual reaction to KDs. But no, I do actually understand why people use them. They are just very much not for me. Did I mention Aero Park is getting KDs on the stock? Heresy, Alex. Heresy, that's what that is. If you want to a German word, saying the English word in German style is a 50-50 chance. I once in a restaurant tried to translate. I'm so full I could pop the odd deal on the table almost fainted. Oh. No, it's there for an American model. That's it. See, I'd use KDs if I was modelling American. But I'm modelling things that had hooks and chains. Just call me Horace. It's disgraceful, Alex. You should be ashamed of yourself. I'm working on an Arduino sketch. Ah, excellent. Still for your doing more for your digital DC, I assume. Oh, hello, Jeff. How are you? I hope you are well. Yes. Well, whilst you're working on all your really cool DCC stuff, Jeff, Paderborn here is doing digital DC. It's having problems, but had a breakthrough. And it's coming on well now. Excellent. Excellent. I am glad to hear that. Yeah, I'd not heard of it before either, Jeff, until Paderborn bought it up. But it's a bit like having some of the DCC features, but with DC, I think. It certainly sounded very interesting. So almost everything from DCC, digital sound is a problem though. So it's more than just a few things from DCC. It's basically everything. Interesting. See? Witchcraft, that's what it is, Jeff. Has Hornby ever done Stepney in A1X condition? I can only find her in A1 condition. In improved engine green, yes, they've only done her as an A1. I believe they've done a model of her in black as an A1X. But you can get a conversion kit from Matt Wickham of Bluebell Model Railway for converting Stepney into preservation condition. Curious, I had an idea of combining DC with DCC engines, but I haven't really given any further thought. Still playing DCC. Yeah, the DCC is where I shall be sticking forever for everything. But it's certainly an interesting concept. Dinner's come out spicier than I expected. Well, that's not great, I tell you, just because Stepney has an amazing story. Indeed it does. And talking of terriers, we have the perfect carriages available for terriers now, thanks to Hornby, with their Stroudley coaches that are definitely not generic in the slightest. Review coming on Tuesday. Yes, I'm going to keep plugging that. Hydration is important. As is buying your nice Oak Hill Model Railway mug from my merch store, !merch in the chat. You know you want to. Fiery and sinus cleary. Oh, yes. I mean, there's good sides to that, Linny. Got some bespoke boards coming made by PCBWay. Yes, I saw the pictures you posted of them up on Skype. They were looking rather interesting. I assume they're your new motor controllers, so you can have 4 sections coming out. Which, again, super interesting. Yes, excellent, excellent. I look forward to seeing how they work. Don't forget any of my micro layouts will be DCC apart from the US one because the firm sound is glorious. Fair enough. I think since you've got an NCE, you should make everything DCC because you only need the one controller. But that's just me. So, that's the bogies done. That's the underframe details done. This is getting quite close to being a carriage now. No, I can't be bothered to slide the washers on to pose it. 2, 4, 6 or 8 districts. Excellent. Excellent. See now, Jeff, your power districts are cleverer than the ones on my lens controller. Well, when you think of how Lens created DCC and were always so far ahead with it, on my, if I get the Lens power booster to open a second district on mine, because it takes all of its inputs from the controller so directly, if I have a short anywhere, it shuts down the whole layout. So yours is more advanced than Lens. So you should be proud of that. And there's a link to Patreon from the bot. DDC is totally customisable to whatever you want. It's a fraction of the price of DCC. You don't have to alter the engines in any way, which is good with older ones. Indeed, yes, that is certainly an advantage. Still need to do an interior. I do indeed still need to do an interior. And as I say, I have actually printed out the interior diagram you sent me, so I can. Pointless. It is a bit, isn't it, Jeff? The reason they did it was purely so you could have more power to run more things. But yeah, I looked into it again after you were starting to do yours, and I was just like, hang on a second, Jeff's is so much better than this. And these guys are supposed to be the best at it. I mean, obviously, they're not supposed to be the best at it anymore. But you would still expect them to be. Oh, you don't need tinning, you're already tinned. Turn the iron back down. We're going to put some buffers on. Still no idea how DDC works. Yeah, it's... I'm not sure how it works. I just think it as a concept is very interesting. Actually, I am going to turn you up and I'm going to tin the insides. Because I can. Also because it seems like a more sensible idea to solder it from the inside if I can, where you're not going to see it. So that I'm not going to expense DCC and everything for the micro layouts. Fair enough. It's only a tenner a chip. And now the important questions, licorice all sorts or marshmallows. Why not both? That is my answer. That is £10 per chip I don't need to spend. Fair enough, Alex. Also, Jeff, you know, when you're done with your DCC controller and it's all working and really nice and stuff, and finished, I've got some contacts at the NMRA. I could get you an NMRA certification for it, which is more than Hornby have for their controller. Marshmallows, wait, are we still on drinks? Does it even matter at this point? Why not in general at life? Amazing Hornby could get that heap of garbage certified for anything. Well, they couldn't, that's the point. Interesting, is it worth doing? If you want to sell them, I would say so, yes. If you don't want to sell them, no, not in the slightest. Unless, of course, you just want bragging rights against Hornby because yours are certified and theirs aren't. Should have checked that first, shouldn't I? They don't quite fit. Nothing else has, so why was I expecting them to? Fair enough, not surprised. No, Hornby's, I think it's the Hornby Select, does not meet NMRA requirements for DCC. So, not for that, it's all open source. Yeah, well, of course, but that doesn't mean you can't sell the unit pre-built if you wanted to. One option for DDC is free mobile phone app controllers talking to £1 Arduino, which controls £1 motor driver powering 2 engines on 2 blocks. That sounds quite cheap, Paderborn. Hornby Select's just absolute worst. Can't believe people defend it. Oh wait, yes I can, because Hornby is God. Well, you'll be glad to know my review of Hornby stock on Tuesday is not sponsored by Hornby. And I will not be giving Hornby a shout out because they asked me to. Right. In fact, too many hurdles, too much faffing, it's a hobby. Yeah, makes sense. Can't say I particularly blame you. What do you think? I see she's like other ideas sitting on the back burner at the moment. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Some people buy off the shelf rolling stock and are happy, others build it themselves. Some people buy off the shelf controllers, some don't. Indeed, that is very true, Paderborn. Sorry, can't hang about. Early start tomorrow. Catch you tomorrow evening. Okay, thanks for coming by, Jeff. It has been good to chat. I shall see you tomorrow evening. Right, the buffers are on. And I'm going to refill the hydration vessel. Because hydration is important. So that is one more job to make this more carriage-like done. We really are getting to the point where we're going to have to look at doing the interior. Which, after all that time that James has been going on about an interior, we're getting to the point where we can do it when he's having to miss the stream because of poor internet. And that seems a real shame. So I do have the diagram. So we have 2 armchairs at this end, a table and a sofa stretching down. On this side we have a bed, which I really don't want to build tonight with James having been always on about it. And then in here we have 2 chairs and a bench seat all the way along the back. And obviously toilets in here, which the windows will be frosted over, so I'm not worried about doing those. But out of all that, the only bit that the seating that comes with it seems useful for is this one little compartment on the end with the bench seat and the 2 bits there. That is honestly the only thing I can see this being useful for. Everything else shall have to be scratch built. So what I think I'm going to do is make up some floors in plastic so that we don't have all these holes all over the place. Get them in. I'm not going to worry about the toilet or the luggage because you won't be able to see into them. So if I make up a floor for the compartment and here out of 10 foul plasticard, get them in and get working on it, because really there is no more soldering. Actually, yeah, there is. We should do that first. There are brake pipes to solder. Once we've got those on, that is the last of the soldering for this model. And then we can start working with plastic without worrying about melting it. Well, I say for the model, we've got footboards to do along the at least I believe we have footboard to do on the bottom of the bogies. This is the only picture detail I've got. But yeah, I do believe I have footboards to do. There may even be a central footboard for here, but I can't work out from the detail if there is or where it goes, but I'm sure there is one on each bogie. Those aren't going to be affected by my plastic internals though. So we've got our brake pipes that connect in there and go around the coupling hooks. And there is the bot trying to remind us that hydration is important. Little does it know, I have just hydrated. These are wonderfully fragile. I think I've got it about the right place there. But the hole does need opening out slightly. I'm not even sure I'll get... No, that won't even get in there. That now will. I don't think it's quite enough yet. No. That won't yet either. No, that one definitely won't. So, if none of those will go in, I think the easiest option is to chop the pins off and solder them direct. But that's just me. The pins are extremely weak as it is, so I don't think they'll actually do much in helping to keep the pipes in place. Because being white metal, these are just really, really bendy. I wonder actually if my plastic ones are the right size, because if they are, they might work better. And it's not like I'm short on them. Yes, those look better. Much, much better. Much crisper, not bent out of shape. Sits round the coupling nicely. We're not going to use the white metal ones. We're going to use the plastic ones. I will stick them on later so they don't get damaged in the build. See, the big bag of pipes finally coming in useful. But imagine how bad it would have been the one time I can actually legitimately use them. I'd have forgotten I'd have had them. So, we want plasticard. We specifically want 10 thou, nice and floppy plasticard. We'll move all this myriad of tools out the way. And just get the knife back. Having spares of stuff is generally useful. Ask any Warhammer modeler. In here, Red, is enough vacuum pipes to do 500 bits of rolling stock. And I model an air braked railway. so they're no good for any of my Brighton stock. Sounds like a very me thing to do. I mean, does that also include the excessive amount of pipes that are basically useless to me? If a modeller needs a bits box, indeed. Jesus, that's a lot of pipes. Yes, yes it is. 32 by 32. Yep, it does. Excellent. Glad to hear it, because I wouldn't want to be the only one. For those shocked by me measuring once, you must be new here. Welcome. I like to live dangerously. Dangerously and reasonably successfully. It's fine in that direction. It's actually slightly too long, or too wide, so I want to cut that down about there. Bet you wish I'd measured at least once now, aren't you? And there we go, it fits rather perfect. Might be a slight bit that can come off this way. Because it had a tiny bit of a bulge. Yep, there we go. No bulge, sits in there, touches all four sides. This is what happens if you spend way too long doing this, by the way. I can turn this soldering iron off now and clean the flux off my pin. My pin, which is silver but appears to be black because of it just being stained by flux. Every so often I clean it off and it goes silver again, and it looks wonderful for a bit. Yay for reducing potential fire hazards. It was only at 200 degrees. Only. Measure half-assed once, cut once, get annoyed and throw it across the room once. That's my motto. Exactly. But that's still more measuring than I did, if you think about it. Those last two cuts I did not measure at all. And they came out quite well. So I'm going to wrap some super glue all around there. And there we go, that is the floor dropped back in. So now, in theory, we want 32mm across here for our bench seat. I am actually going to measure both sides of this though. For me, it's measure solidly for an hour, cut once. OCD isn't helpful for rapid construction. No, I can imagine OCD does not help much with rapid construction. And there we are, one set of seats. I now need to switch back to the knife so we can use the blade to clean that up a bit. Because you do get a lot of it come off on the edge just really messily when you're cutting these seats. Now the question is, how well do they fit? Because I'm expecting them to be slightly oversized at the bottom. Oh no. You will notice it pressed up against that wall and pressed up against that wall and sighted down on the floor. Anyway, sorry, I have to go. I have work in the morning, so I need sleep. See you tomorrow on Discord. Good night, Red. Enjoy your sleep. Have fun at work. And all that jazz. And I shall see you on the Discords. For those that aren't on the Discord, !Discord in the chat to get a link. Or oakhillmodelrailway.co.uk/Discord. Because that is literally the link. And come and hang out with us 7 days a week. Nice fit indeed. I was surprised by how well it fit actually, Andy, thank you. So that is solidly pressed up against there now. Although every time I touch it I knock it away from the wall, so that's not helpful. There we go. So now we need one more of those on each side. Where's the link again? !Discord in chat. Or it's oakhillmodelrailway.co.uk/Discord. And my knee just really clicked there, and that was really painful. Really painful. Right, so for these two we just need 10mm each, and that will give us our seats on the other side there, and then we will have an interior. Well, on this bit anyway. And there is a link to my Instagram, thanks to the bot. Occasionally I post there, sometimes I forget. Today is one of the days when I forgot. I've been doing so many other things today. And I got interrupted by this weird white stuff falling from the sky. No idea what it is. But the ground's absolutely covered in it. Well, it's not too covered actually. And so there we can see the seat for the other side with the door in the middle, and then there'll be a seat on this side here too. Finally got some snow. Also, indeed, finally got some snow. First snow since 2016. And it's nothing to write home about, if I'm being completely honest. We got snow here today as well. Well, hey. Yeah, it's barely settled, but it hasn't stopped all day. I'm pretty sure it's still snowing now. So I expect that by the morning we'll have a decent coverage of it. Can't believe they're calling it Beast from the East 2. Do they not remember the first one? This is nothing on like the first one. Why? Because I've got some snow. I don't remember the first one. So you may say it's nothing like the first one, Alex, but this is the first time I've had snow in 5 years. We've missed it today, mind you, we've had significant falls previously. Yeah, whereas we really haven't. Today we had our first proper snow in about 5 years, sledge rides, snowball fights, the works. We've not had enough for that. You probably could have gone and had a snowball fight if you were really determined, but we never even got full ground coverage. And all this is now spare. Socially distanced one, indeed, well, the socially distanced one. Talking of socially distanced things, that was an interesting bit of vandalism recently round here. So, a village near to me is Wilmington, which has a nice section of the South Downs in the back, on which is drawn a person known as the Long Man of Wilmington. He's absolutely huge. It's an Iron Age chalk drawing, and so during the week some people went up to the Long Man and gave him a face mask. The Archaeological Society that maintain him were not best pleased. I thought it was rather amusing. I remember it well, stayed at Wilmington Priory a few years back for a holiday. Ah, lovely. Lovely place. Yeah, the Long Man gained a face mask during the week and promptly lost it. Well, I hope those people suffer something nasty. That they didn't actually cut into the land or damage the long man doing it, if that's any consolation. Yep, that looks to be the right size. It just needs a little bit chopping off the corner. It was there for less than a day. Vandalism is never justified. Well, no. Obviously, it's never justified. But I'm just making the point that at least in this case it wasn't any actual permanent damage. Come here. Glad about that at least, yeah. There we go. Outside of the people that actually did it, there's only two photos of it, and one of them was the local press who rushed down there as soon as they heard about it. That's how quickly it was gone. And there is that seating. 125 group had one of their Mark IIIs tagged the other day. Luckily, the graffiti removal company was able to get it off without damage. That is very good that they were able to do that. Yes. I think this needs a little corner removing as well. Vandalism is always bad, but it's slightly less bad if it's able to be repaired easily. Still costs money, could be better spent preserving the stock. Indeed. Indeed, it would be much better if it didn't happen at all. I quite agree there. And there we have seating. So this compartment is now done. As per the drawing. Indeed, some of the damage heritage trail has suffered in recent years has been appalling. Yes, yes it has. And with that, I'll remind you, hydration is important. And yes, I quite agree with Woo seats. In Worcester Cathedral, you can see where Cromwell's men vandalised statue. Prince Arthur's tomb. Been going on for ages. Wow. I did not realise there was vandalism that old that was still in existence. Right, so we'll chop that off. Very true, Bob. Always makes me sad to see it. Yes. Yes, quite. I do believe the group that did it, that did the long man the other day, were rather frustrated by the amount of anti-lockdown propaganda vandalism we've been getting recently. Which includes many, many spray painted walls. Try and visit the beach a couple of times a year. Obviously been a while since we've been now. Yes, I can imagine it has. Hopefully it won't be too long before you can visit it again. There we go, there's our mark. Puritans and didn't like images, yeah. Of course there was a lot of that once upon a time. Fighting stupidity with stupidity, interesting tactic. Isn't it just? But I'm pretty sure that's what it was, Alex. I do not know for definite, and I don't know who did it, but obviously when these things happen locally you do hear stuff. So if you're going to say hi to King John, won't go into my thoughts on Parliament on stream, we'll get round to you, might offend. Sounds political, Alex. None of that. Oh, we've gone a little bit too wide. Arthur and King John born in Worcester. Were they really? Both in Worcester. There we go. Words, I can word sometimes. Sometimes I even make the right ones come out my mouth. I did not know they were both there. Still slightly too big. Both length and width wise. I do think I've just taken too much off there though. And possibly even there. Oh no. No, we're good. We are good. Quite a lot of interesting history at Worcester. Well, I will obviously have to try and make a point of getting up that way once that is possible again. And not just for the Severn Valley. And there we go, like it drops right in now and it's all glued and stuck down. You master SVR and Worcester are well worth a look, as a few other places around here. Excellent, Alex. I will definitely have to do that then. Great cafe in the cloister too, really missing that. Oh, wow. See, now you're pulling me up there more. Yes, it's marvellous. Excellent. And there is the donation link. The donation link, of course, is how we set off Stepney. So if you want to hear Stepney, you know what to do. Right, now, we have an interior to build, and I'm very tempted to cheat. We have 2 armchairs up at the end here. I am very tempted to just cut some more bits of this and stick them on the end as per this compartment, if I'm being totally honest. I don't think I could get away with using a section of this as the couch and covering up the windows though, because I'm pretty sure the couch is going to have to be lower than that. So that should be fun. Although I suppose I could cut it down and then put sides on it. I don't really think anyone will be able to tell once it's all together. That's what I was thinking. Is that detail like that is a bit more... I mean, you know my thoughts on carriage interior detail anyway. Hope the SVR may be running at Easter if lockdown restrictions are lifted. Really missing the volunteer work at Arley. Well, that would be great if it is. That would be great. Case in point about interior detail. Hornby have got seats and stuff inside these carriages. Can you see them? Can you see our nice detailed interior there? As you look through the carriage? Because I don't. I know it's there because I took it apart. Clear as mud. Exactly. In fact, not only did I take it apart, I pointed out that it's wrong in my review. Because of course I did. Do they have lights? They do not. I did not get the lit versions because none of my other carriages have lights and it would seem a bit out of place. Sorry, I have to leave for dinner. Things are looking great. Good night, everyone. Good night, Andy. Thank you for coming. Enjoy your dinner. And I shall speak to you soon. Let's detour this slightly. Because we can. There we go. So you see, it does have an interior. With 6 seats per compartment, 3 each side. But it should be 4. See, they've done their interior wrong. But it's there. But could you see any of that through the window? That is why I don't usually bother with interiors. You put partitions in, that they show, you can tell the partitions, but you don't really see anything else. This one, however, with much bigger windows, feels worth doing. So the interiors are even less clear on the thirds, which don't have partitions. So that's one long compartment. Can you see what's in it? Because I can't, unless I get really up close to it. And that's my reason for not usually doing interiors. Will you be getting the Hattons coaches? Yes, I plan on getting some Hattons ones in SE&CR livery. Technically the interiors are correct for the generic coaches they're meant to be. Sadly no one told the designers of the outside to make them generic. They're not generic, don't call them generic. I assure you, my review has been making noises in all the right places. Could you do a comparison between Hornby and Hatton's, please? I mean, a simple comparison between Hornby and Hatton's would be, do you want LBSC coaching stock? Because if you want LBSC Stroudley coaching stock, get the Hornby ones. If you don't, if you want literally anything but LBSC Stroudley coaching stock, get the Hatton's ones. If you want Great Western, get the ratio ones and make them yourself, because they're really nice, the ratio kits. But yeah, certainly once I've got some Hatton's ones, I do not mind doing some comparisons between them. And there is a seat in the end of this one. Generic. You're going to comment that on Tuesday now, aren't you, Alex? Just that they're not generic. There is nothing generic about them. There's things wrong with them, but there's certainly nothing generic. Well, no, I won't. Too predictable. Oh, but does you saying that now make it less predictable? Therefore, you're allowed to do it in a bit of a double bluff. No, I'm just going to accuse you of being a shill and leave it at that. Fair enough. I don't mind you accusing me of being a shill, as long as you watch the whole thing and tell me what you think of all my new cool editing stuff. Because I've put a lot of effort into this video. It has much better editing than my previous videos. It wasn't all one take for starters. And I've got one of those professional YouTuber end screens. Of course, I'm looking forward to it. I've been missing the Tuesday vids. Well, I've put one out. I'm putting one out that's nearly 3/4 of an hour long to make up for it, Alex. And there are more planned. Bob donated $10. Thank you, Bob. Very much appreciated. The donations do go a long way towards helping the channel. In fact, using the donations we received last week and the Patreon money for this month, I have bought our next project to work on once this is finished. So hopefully that arrives in time. Pleasure. It really is appreciated, Bob. Thank you very much. It means a lot when people think enough of the live stream to donate. And there we have the seats in the end. So the next thing we want is a couch. Now, I do not believe any of this is anywhere close. Actually, it's quite close to how well. It's pretty much spot on at that end. So if I measure that as 35mm, we probably want a 35mm long couch. So I'm thinking if I use this, I cut it down and then add arms, that should do. Because obviously we don't want it blocking up the windows. But yes, I'm very much looking forward to our next project. And when I discovered the product we shall be using, it certainly seemed like it was my job to be using it and reviewing it for everyone. Not that I'm a reviewer. Huzzah for next project, indeed. The fact it's actually managed to be paid for with live stream money outright is just amazing as well. Icing on the cake, indeed. Say good night to. Take care all. Have safe. Regards always, Bob. Good night, Bob. Thank you for coming. As always, it has been fantastic to have you here. And I look forward to next time. Sleep well. But yes, it really is the icing on the cake, Alex, because without it I probably wouldn't have been able to afford the next project after the weekend I've had. Because I need to get a new oven now. After mine decided, nah. It's not completely dead, but it's dead enough to be a problem. Oh no, curse expenses like that. Exactly. It's alive enough to use. It's dead enough to need replacing. So that is a couple of months of modelling budget. Now I've got to cut this nice and straight along this line I've scored on the back. Snow is vanquished and I have returned. Looking great. Welcome back, Javier. Yes, we are looking like a carriage now. What I need now is details of what size wheels this thing had, so I can get some the right size out my pot. because you're missing the weirdest thing ever. Javier, we are putting an interior in. And that one has not stuck. I'm sure I did glue it. Almost certainly 14mm. Well, that is the size I was expecting. How much more snow do you guys have Javier? Thanks. I see we're on to meat cleaver phase of it. Yeah, the meat cleaver. It doesn't look like I did put glue on this one. I'm sure I did, but I don't see any. Don't see any glue residue or anything. So I must have not. Which sort of explains it falling out, really. About half a foot is the loose stuff, thankfully. To approve of weird interiors. Well, I mean, it's weird that I'm putting it in. Proper snow, wish we had that sometimes, though I can imagine it's a pain to live with. See, we had like 1.5 inches settle, but only on the grass. If even that. Slush is a favourite of the UK. Indeed. See, the problem is it spent all of last night raining. So when it started coming down earlier, it was only when it started coming down heavily with big flakes that it started to settle. And that did not last long. We're a week into it now, and the slop is starting to form. All fun. There we go. See, there's our couch, and it's not blocking up the windows, but it's definitely there. That comes right down by the doors, but we need to put some sides on it first. So we'll get the slightly thicker plastic card. That's actually not the size I was after that I just threw out there. Will this do? It might do, unless I've got another bit that's a little thicker, but also not a huge bit, because I don't want to go cutting up a huge bit for it. Ah, there's a better bit to use. Nice chunky arms. That looks like 60 found to me. Blimey, will the side seats get in the way of glazing? They are underneath the window, so it should be fine. Apparently the latest standard stock kits from Radley finally come with flush glazing. Wah-hey! I approve of flush glazing. But yes, it's completely under the window, so I should still be able to glaze it. So impressed with these new SS kits. Excellent, I'm glad you're impressed. Impressed is good. But hydration is important. So my thoughts are just blocks on the end like that. Let's cut a rough chunk off and see what we think. Yeah, so what I'm thinking is I just put something on the end like so. Maybe a bit lower so that it's not coming all the way up to the top. There we go. Something like that. That seems to be the right depth as well. They seem to be about the same, so yeah. If I then stick them on each end, we should have something looking a bit sofa-y. There we go, it's a sofa. Well, you know, it's obviously if S7 will attempt to buy that I posted on Discord where I looked at a video of it in action. The sound is garbage, so I won't be wasting my money. Fair enough. That is a shame. And there we are, one in situ sofa. Still not blocking the glazing. Phone sounds amazing, apparently Broadway Imports isn't. Fair enough. Good that you found this out before spending money on it. There we go. One very in situ sofa and two chairs. So the next thing this needs is either a table or a bed. And I've no idea how I'm going to make either of them, to be honest. What I do know is that this is about the right size on this side. It'll be too small on this side. But if that measures at 6, oh yeah, that'll fit in there nicely at 6mm by 10mm. Yeah, that'll fit in there nicely. Absolutely found an SPF7, but because their set comes with both A and B units, costs well over $400, so nope. Yeah, that's a lot of money for a set that you're not going to use all of. I'll stick with the GP9, which is what my original plan was anyway. That sounds like a good plan then, Alex. Now, if I use that bit there, I could stick it under there and have a table. I like that idea. So, little T-shaped table. It's ironic that now I own a Peter North layout, considering it was his US layout that always inspired me to want to model US. Yeah! And you own his layout that he only built because someone said, I bet you can't do non-US. There we go. That table probably wants to come up a bit, but that's fine, we can do that. I say that because it's lower than the seating, which probably isn't ideal. So that idea for doing that did not work, and that is well and truly stuck there now. Yep. Never mind, we'll just cut off another bit. About the same. Thank God for challenges, indeed. That can sit under there, and suddenly we've doubled the height of the table. Oh, don't forget, thank God for me being skint and not having room as well, Alex. Because he did spend a good portion of the Upfield show trying to get me to buy it. I remember seeing his Rock Island layout on Model Town and just being blown away by it. His Rock Island layout was at Uckfield as well, with its current owner. Now we've got a slightly taller and altogether better looking table. Tonight it's time, work tomorrow, good night and keep safe. Good night, Paderborn. Thank you for coming by, great to have you here as always. Sleep well and don't work too hard. I know, that made me happy to see. I thought it would. I did enjoy that layout as well. Well, that say was so good. What a show! It is always a fantastic show, Alex. You'll have to come back once the world's normal again. I really will try and get back. Excellent. There we go, we got 2 seats, a table and a sofa. All that is needed now is a bed against this wall. So that's good when your knife blade does that, isn't it? Oh, and don't forget to add to the irony, of course. The only reason I was able to get you in touch with Peter North for you to be able to buy that layout was because of Keith at Club, who knows him because he models American. Also helped the area around Upfield being so beautiful, pleasure to drive through. The whole of Sussex is beautiful, Alex. I live in a beautiful place. So the question now is, how do you make a bed? And for that matter, how high do you make a bed? Perfect series of events, really. Yes, it must have been fate. The layout was destined to be yours. Usually with sheets, pillows, etc. But I quite specifically said in double O, I think. If I didn't, I meant to. The measurement on there is 30 by 8. I'm going to cut something out at that size and see how it looks. Don't suppose you're 8 wide, are you? You are. But I think you get thinner. You do. That's no good. Looking at my bed, the mattress is about my knee height. Yes, but we're not all giants like you, Alex. Let's see how 30 by 8. Never use a knife like this. Never, ever, ever. That is a big important message from me. My fingertips grow back, yours might not. Okay, mattress is about 21 inches, head's about 31 inches, the bed head is about 38 inches from the ground. See, now it's marked on here as a very simple, literally, mattress pillow, whereas other things have some detail on them, so I'm not sure it has a head. Right, okay, what it's telling me there is I need to score it a few more times. Just go with mattress height. No. It definitely needs to be higher than that. God, this really doesn't want to come off. You see how easy all the other bits have just bent and pulled off. No, I mean the match on. Oh yeah, right, yeah. That does not look too bad on as a size on the floor plan to me. That looks perfectly acceptable, especially if you compare it to the floor plan, which it's sort of showing. It's a bit better like that. So that is the size we will go with. Suppose you could lie a figure down on it. I could if I had one to hand, which I don't. I suppose there's some on the layout. Yeah. There we go. It's the right size. Well, it's slightly longer than William Stroudley, who, this being an SE&CR saloon, I picked on purpose. You can come and stand next to his carriages. He's definitely not in the slightest bit generic carriages. So, 30 by 6. There we go, snug as a bug on a break. 30 by 8 is what I meant. I'm actually going to get the pen out and mark this one. Just because it's quite long. One more and then we'll try bending it off. Marking, measuring without eyeballing it, for shame. I know. I've let you down. But it was much easier to cut that way, to be fair. Now, how tall is 2 of those? 2 of those is just over 4 mil. So if we get a third, that brings it up to just under 7 mil, which for your 21 inches is about right. That means I need another bit of plastic art that size. because I certainly don't have enough sized bits there. No, you're too small. No, you're too small. Oh, you look right. You are right. And this is, once upon a time, the back wall of the loading bay of my old goods shed on my first layout that I built myself. But before we cut that, hydration is important. Look at that, it's got about a bed missing out the corner. I think this was the first building I ever scratch built. Yeah, it's got a bed size piece missing out the corner. Okay, it needs to lose a little bit more. There is a reason I'm doing this. I'm not just messing around. Because messing around with a knife is bad, so don't do it. There we go. That is now one pre-marked bit, the right size for the bed. So now I just need to cut it along that way and chop off to where that is already chopped off, and we've got the right size piece. And now we're knocking over William Stroudley. Maybe he will need this saloon after all. And there is the base to our bed. So now we want to stick those three bits together. Like so. And there's a link to the Facebook page. That is Alex's favourite link of the night. Fun fact, everyone. Saw the Hornby generic coaches and fainted. Nothing generic about them. He's very proud of his Stroudley coaches. And now we're going to get out the big file. turn our big bed block into a big bed block. And just as one last detail, we will have obviously put away the bit of plastic art that I'm looking for. Obviously. A pillow. Because would it even be a bed without a pillow? Yeah, the comfiest pillow, Alex. Very much the comfiest pillow. Aren't you just ready to curl up in that bed and go to sleep? Doesn't it look so wonderfully appealing? Yeah, I didn't think so. Needs fluffing up. It does a bit. Bring the comfy chair. Well, I can tell you one thing for sure. I was not expecting the Spanish Inquisition. And there we go. We have an interior. That makes me quite happy. I also think it rather ironic that we get this done on the week that James isn't here because of his poor internet. No one expects the Spanish Inquisition. I was waiting for one of you to say it. No, look, he's so ill he can't even stay on the bed, look. I mean, that could be because he's got a big bit of plastic attached to his feet. There we go. William Stroudley in the bed of the South Eastern and Chatham Invalid Saloon. You don't get this sort of quality content on any other channel on YouTube. Remember to smash the like button for William Stroudley on the bed in the SE&CR Invalid Saloon. Forms around here, that's 6.5 foot bed. It's something like that. It's 30 mil, I think. I did it as. Now the question is, do I have in this stash next to the workbench any carriage wheels full stop? does not look like I do. Where is that pot I had earlier that had some in that were definitely the right size? There it is. Oh, I mean, I say definitely the right size. I'm guessing. Here is 3 sets. You'd think I'd at least have an even number of sets of wheels. They are 14mm. And there's a 4th set. So there is 4 sets of 14mm wheels. I'm 6.5 foot and my feet only slightly overhang my bed, so it's not inaccurate. Why? Excellent. I approve of accurate. Question is, will these be the right length axles? It looks like it. These would have been much easier to put in before folding, but I don't want them in there to paint it. Those look exactly the right size for these bogies. We can put it on its wheels. This is an exciting moment. Everyone be excited. And if you're not excited, pretend to be excited. Yeah, that's got plenty of room. It honestly did not look like it did. Now, I'm not going to tighten this up so that it actually holds the bogie in place. I'm just going to tighten it up so that the bogie doesn't fall off. It's on its wheels. So are we painting next week? It looks like we might be, doesn't it? We've still got the roof to do, but I can't put the roof on until the interior's painted. Where's my plinth? There's my plinth. Should really get it on the plinth before positioning the camera, shouldn't I? And there we are. I can see that interior. Let's put him back in there. There we go. one SE&CR Invalid Saloon, now complete with interior. So we've got a roof to form, we've got some painting to do, and we've got couplings and pipes on the end to add. I cannot begin to tell you how impressed I am with what we've got done this evening. And it's only 5 to midnight. That's how well we've done. I don't think... I know I'm quite good at having projects to fill a bit of extra time. I don't think I've got anything to fill 5 minutes. Looks at the kittens. No. I don't have the right paint. I know what breed I want you to be. Just sit and admire it. that might get a bit much for 5 minutes. But yeah, so we have... I think we've done really well there. Let's stick the pipes on the end of it. Pop some grab irons on the Hornby Stroudleys. I'm going to do a whole stream about them at some point, but we can at least make this point of just how easy these are. So the grab handles really are just getting underneath them and they pull out. That is how easy it is to remove them. And then when we've done that, they go in this bag here, because Corbs has asked if he can have all the grab handles off my Hornby Stroudleys. So I've got a bag of Hornby Stroudley grab handles here for Corbs. Let's see if we can get that one side done. It's only 4. That's only 1 a minute. Okay, so they come out, they've got lugs on them that go into the doors. They come out really easily. Of course, Snapchat swears, I was meaning to ask for them, oh well, I can have them from somewhere. See, he beat you to it. Literally, as soon as I first showed that I'd done it on one, he was in my DMs asking if he could have them. So then we take our Roxy grab handles. We snip them off the edge, which if you do it really nicely, you can get them to come off without any extra material. And it's just 4 cuts each to achieve that. There it is. And that gets us our 4 grab handles. We look around for the bit of cardboard we were putting super glue onto. We can't find it, it's probably ended up in the bin. So we just drop some super glue on there. Take one of the grab handles by the top corner. Bit of glue there. Bit of glue there. And on it goes. Just like that. Good night, look forward to watching your generic coach review. Thank you, Mookie. That will be out Tuesday. I say it's a long one, so make sure you got your tea ready. It'll match the GWR generics I have. Indeed, they would. Bish bash bosh, indeed, Alex. Oh dear, that one didn't stick. We get that, and that happened to me a couple of times on the other carriage, where I just didn't quite get it down properly. And pinged it away with the tweezers. I never had any that I stuck to my finger instead though. And we've just passed midnight. So there is one 5-minute job. All hand railed up. Just like that. So yes, it is now midnight. We have passed pumpkin time. When for some reason my workbench apparently turns into a pumpkin. That's just what happens these days around here. Who knows, with the modern world, nothing is too unpredictable now, is it? So we've managed to finish off the underframe on the carriage. We've managed to put an interior in the carriage. And we've put some decent grab handles on one of the Hornby Stroudleys. All in all, I'd call that a very successful stream. I am really happy with the progress we did on the underframe. I'm really happy with the interior we've made. I've had an absolutely wonderful time. I hope you all have too. Lovely, excellent streams always. Good night, dude. Thank you all. So yes, all that's left to say is I've been Gary, this has been Let's Build, and you've been awesome. Good night.